Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heart of Christ Ministry. Fresh off the day of rest, happy, excited. I was happy, excited yesterday, but I think the most important thing, there we go, gonna get that in. Most important thing you can do, I feel, for yourself is to always be sure that whatever you are engaging in, you are going to make sure that you're 100% all in. Okay. A few years back, I began to implement this in a way that would pretty much ensure that if I was all in, if I was 100% in, there was no way I wasn't going to succeed. Okay. But if I was kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, maybe 50, 60%, it always left that gaping hole for me to fail because my concentration wasn't all present. So I made it a point that every time I do this, every time I do anything, if I can't do it 190% or 110%, whatever it is, if I can't do it all in, I shouldn't do it. And there's some mornings where I know in my heart I want to do it all the time, but then you get to the point and you're like, you know what? My energy's needed somewhere else. Let me just take a day off. Okay. And so through that realization, that basically ensures that you will succeed, because the best way to do anything and do it well is what? Is to be 100% mindful and present in what you're doing. Isn't that amazing? 100%. Just be 100% present. Done deal, right? Power through it. Everything focus right here and now. All right. So today's message, is all about consciousness. And bear with me here real quick. If you don't know what consciousness is, I will do everything possible to ensure that you understand what it means, or what consciousness means, and how significant it is to each and every individual, and how it has the power to transform and change your life right now when you understand and believe and know the magnitude of it. Okay, we're going to get into that today, but the first thing we gotta do is the line of business. I'm about to get into where's my abundance, but there's a line of business here, guys. We want to thank you for writing. Thank you for expressing yourself. Thank you for sharing ideas about things that you desire to hear me speak about here. Anything you have that you would like to share, please, by all means, use that email, send it over. If it's a prayer request, if it's a chance or an opportunity to stand in divine agreement with you on some stuff, more than happy to. We'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. And I look forward to it. I always look forward to hearing from you guys and just seeing how you benefit. And it's really quite phenomenal to see people become better because you followed your gift. And that, I think, for any spiritual being having a human experience is the most epic, utmost thing you can do for anybody, to use your gifts to inspire somebody else. That is why we're all here, right? So that's important. Share, write, prayer requests, whatever it may be. Heart of Christ Ministry is here for you. And also give our Facebook page a like, Heart of Christ Ministry. I'll put a link up here somehow or another. But anyway, just go to Heart of Christ Ministry and give us a quick like. A lot of great information, a lot of great wisdom and stuff. These videos recorded are on there. And it's quite amazing to look back and to see all of the insight and wisdom that has been divulged. So thank you for that. And getting started. It's Friday, and I know you got paid. No. That's so terrible. It's like, I know you got your paycheck today, homie. No, by all means, I couldn't resist. If you feel this ministry has benefited you in any way, shape, or form, and you'd like to sow a seed into this ministry, guys, it is greatly appreciated. And we ask that you do that through Venmo, Heart of Christ Ministry, PayPal, Shaun G04 at gmail.com, and Apple Pay upon request. Look, if you're guided by that essence of love and you feel like you're better because of Heart of Christ, by all means, show your generosity and kindness and sow a seed. Remember, the seed you sow never leaves your life. Bless it. It'll continue to expand. It'll help us to continue to expand. And with that being said, thank you in advance for your appreciation and your kindness and generosity. And let's get into the game that I was talking about before. Where's my abundance? And so I don't want to take too much time, but I know this is an important aspect of every day of this sermon and message if you're going to tune in, right? Takes us almost 7 minutes into it, but at the same time, this is something that is so very important. Why? Because it allows your mind to be focused on the abundance that's in your life. It allows you to be in a space of pure gratitude in every sense of the word. And it's amazing. I feel like it's truly amazing to be able to do that. So without further ado, whatever you are grateful for, whatever you are feeling abundant about, I want you to write that down in the comments. I'll share something at the end. We're going to do 2 rounds of this, really dive into what you feel abundant for, what you feel grateful for. And we will get that started now, not now for 30 seconds. Hit it. Terrific job. Now, just keep in mind, this is really setting the tone for the day. It's setting the tone for your abundance to show up, and more importantly, for you to be aware, to be conscious of your abundance. And so with that being said, I'm not going to hold you back. Let me know what your abundance is, what you're grateful for, and be sure to put it into the comments. Last round coming at you right now. All right. That is a terrific job, ladies and gents. Amazing, 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 amazing. So thank you for playing my abundance that I would like to say today that I'm really grateful for. And this sort of ties in to today's message. I'm really grateful for the idea, the truth, that the divine loved us so much that it gave us every single bit of power to live our lives in the very best way that we can. So for that being said, my abundance is my consciousness. And why? Because my consciousness allows me to live the life that I choose. And that is why I'm extraordinarily grateful. That is my abundance. Every day, every moment, I get to choose what my life looks like. And that is a gratitude that is truly immeasurable. Thank you for playing today's game. Where's my abundance? Be sure, once again, guys, put those examples of abundance into the comments to share for everybody else, to inspire everybody to know that nothing is ever too big or too small to be grateful for. And then we're moving on today. So I can be completely honest with you, I forgot my title there. As a matter of fact, let me show you real quick. It's the one from the other day, so I forgot to do it, but it's in the description. That's pretty funny. Anywho, let's just go right here. So we're talking about consciousness, okay? And so consciousness, I'd like to simplify this for you first so you can understand what it is. And all it comes down to is just awareness, right? Consciousness is awareness. And in awareness, awareness determines your behavior, how you think, how you feel, how you act, right? So when you come across somebody that says he's a really conscious person, all they're basically saying is he's very aware. She's very aware, right? But what happens is that consciousness is not something that you learn or you're taught right away. As a matter of fact, if anything, it's kind of shoved down so you don't know how important it is, because I can tell you, if somebody would have taught you this concept as a child, you would probably be absolutely doing so well, successfully, and just killing absolutely everything in your life if they gave you this concept, right? And what's interesting is some people know it, but they know it unconsciously. They don't know it in a way that they understand what's actually happening, okay? So consciousness is an awareness, right? It's an awareness. It's a state of being, a state of mind. It's how you think, how you feel, how you act. That is consciousness, okay? So what God did for us, God set it up to where there is one big creative divine mind that is connected to all of our divine minds. When I say our, I'm talking all 7.7 billion people in the entire world and those coming in. All those minds are connected to that one divine creative mind. Okay. And so what is thought, what is felt, transfers. What is acted transfers into that creative principle, transfers into that creative divine mind. All right. So when it's transferred into the mind, it's thrown out onto the picture screen of life. Okay. And here is what I want you to know. That is today's title. If you look in the description, nothing can enter your life until it enters your consciousness first. I'm going to say this 3 times because I really want your subconscious mind to hear it and to get it. Nothing can enter your life until it enters your consciousness first. Nothing can enter your life until it enters your consciousness first. All right. And so what this means, nothing can happen to you unless it's happening to you on the inside. Right now, for a lot of people, this is a very hard pill to swallow. And there's a lot of reasons why. But one of the biggest reasons is you become responsible for everything. And some people aren't ready to have that power just yet. But if you are ready to have that power, guess what? This is the jackpot. And why is it the jackpot? Because it is God basically telling us, I've given you the keys to the kingdom. What are you going to do with it? Right? What are you going to create? Since that is the number one principle in the entire universe, how are you going to use your creative capacity? Right? Because once again, nothing, and this is actually number 2, nothing happens in your life unless it happens in your consciousness. So let's put this into practicality for you so you can really understand and get an idea of how it relates to your life. Okay, so take, for instance, the whole idea of where I'm sitting right now, what I'm doing, this entire condominium, this entire apartment and unit could not happen for me to live in it until I and my wife had it within us as a mental equivalent first, right? And that started out with the desire, the thought, the feeling, and the action to move to Florida. So when we decided to move to Florida, all of a sudden, this thing began to develop itself as an extension of consciousness, if you will, right? To the point where it came about and was able to manifest itself into our existence the moment we were ready to move. And then, sure enough, here we are, right? But that could not happen until we started to think, feel, and act that we wanted to make the move from Los Angeles to Florida, to Fort Lauderdale. All right, you get what I'm saying? So it was no, all of a sudden, we just up and move and go from California to Florida. No, because then this doesn't exist. The only way this can exist is if you get it in here, you get it in your consciousness first, right? And so that's one example. The example that I really want to show you that can help you in your life is when you start looking at debt, is when you start looking at bad relationships and stuff like that, that you don't want to exist in your life. There is a thought form present within you that's causing that thing to happen. If there's somebody giving you a hard time, there is a thought form within yourself, right? There's a thought form within yourself that's causing that person to give you a hard time. Why? Because everybody is just us out pictured. Okay. Everybody is just us out pictured. You know, it's spiritual world, mental world, and then physical world, manifest world, right? So they just reflect whatever we give to that divine mind. So if we're giving the divine mind constant peace, love, and harmony, we're going to receive that from people, right? But if we're giving ourselves into the divine mind and other people judgment, fear, right? Disgust. You give that, guess what? You better be ready for that boomerang to fly back because you're telling the universe, this is what I want, right? And so what this concept does, this concept of consciousness does, is it makes us think. It makes us think seriously and mindfully before we act, right? Because guess what? Anything that's happening to you is happening because it's happening in here first, right? And I want to use an example. And this is a good example because it just is, right? First off, you gotta say to yourself, am I willing and ready to take responsibility for what happens in my own life, right? If I'm willing and ready to take responsibility for my own consciousness, guess what? The tightness, the tension, the fear, the anger that I experience, guess what? It falls away, right? Falls away. I'm going to show you what happened to me. Growing up was very, very difficult. It was difficult in a sense because I knew absolutely nothing about consciousness or anything else, no spirituality other than, the traditional religion that I had, which really helped me to be who I am today. So I'm very grateful for that. But there was no Heart of Christ ministry. There was no someone teaching me how to live on a higher level of vibration, none of that. And so I can be honest with you, I had a victim consciousness. I felt like I was victimized all the time, when in actuality, I was the one perpetuating all of that. From the bullying, from the not having enough money, from the, being lonely, from the anything you can think of, I was the catalyst for all of that. All of that happened because of me. And I smiled because guess what? I can own my shit without any blame, shift, or anything that says this person has to do this or this person has to act that way. Absolutely not. I don't put that on anybody because I take responsibility for it. Okay. And so when I decided to do that, when I decided to take responsibility, I moved out of the state of being of blame. And I moved into this dynamic state of divine love, truth, and acceptance. And I realized something. Pump the brakes. What's happening to me is a direct correlation to what I'm thinking, feeling, and acting towards myself. Right? And although I may not have been able to admit it at that point in time, I can admit it now. Right? I can admit it now. That whatever happens to me is my doing. I'm not here to blame anybody else because guess what? These are all actors in a universal play that are just tuning into the vibration that you give them. And trust me when I tell you this, if you feel like you're getting a raw deal, it's because that feeling of you getting a raw deal is being transferred to the universal mind. The universal mind is saying, there you go, buddy. Have at it. You want struggle? You want people you want formidable, right? You want to make it difficult. You want to like be in this place where you're climbing and clamoring and grasping. Guess what? Your wish is my command. And the universe gives it to you. And then you wonder why you struggle. You wonder why you're having a hard time because you, in your consciousness, once again, nothing happens in life unless it happens in our consciousness first, decided that you were going to struggle. And then if you have no idea how that happened, that means unconsciously you're creating your life, right? And that's a dangerous place to be because you could be doing some serious stuff that is going to come back and explode your life. And we just don't want that, right? So what do you have to do? You have to become more aware. So you know what I do? Every moment of every day, I watch my interaction with people. I watch my interaction with animals. I watch my interactions with companies that I got to pay bills to. I get right down specifically to the T. And if I say I have issues with Xfinity about my television, I'm like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. Because normally they're really nice. If something's not going right, what thought form am I holding in my consciousness for these people to be acting some type of way towards me? And I don't blame them. I go within and take responsibility that they're just reflecting to me what I'm giving myself, right? Take money, for instance. If you're struggling with cash or cash flow or anything like that, how in your consciousness are you rejecting money? Is it an old paradigm that says money doesn't grow on trees or the love of money is the root of all evil, whatever that says? So consciously, mentally, we've got to see what contributed to us allowing this to happen. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this concept ain't for everybody, right? This concept ain't for everybody because not everybody is conscious enough to accept their own power, right? They're just not. But if you are willing to accept your own power, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm like all up in the camera like that. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're ready to accept your own power, your own divinity, right? Because once again, God has given us the keys to the Ferrari, the mansions, the private jet, everything that's just kind of, forms. But that type of potential energy exists within us as our consciousness, right? But if we're not going to take power over it, if we're going to give it away to someone else to make up and decide for us, we're going to suffer. And we're going to suffer immensely, right? Because The number one power you've been given is free will, the ability to make a choice, to make a decision, to shape your life in the way that you choose to. And if you give that away, it's like jumping into a riptide that you have no control over. You better be ready for the ride, because it's going to take you around and round and round, and then it might even drown you, right? And that's metaphorically speaking, but it's the truth of the matter. It's the truth of what actually is, okay? So once again, if you're ready for that power, understand, and you try this for yourself. Look at your life. See what life is giving you, right? See what life is giving you. And if someone or something is rejecting you, guess what? You rejected it first. Isn't that something? If you have issues with people, and when I first learned this, I said, "Oh, hell no. This ain't on me. I'm gonna prove this wrong." And then I went back in the past, and I saw all of this stuff unfold. And I realized these people rejected me because I rejected them first to some degree. And it never failed, because why? The universe can't fail. The universe is infallible, right? It's impartial and neutral in the sense that it's only waiting for you to give it something so it can give it back. Now, something like this can cause a major amount of cognitive dissonance. But if you're willing to accept it for the truth that it is, right? Guess what? Change your life. Will absolutely change your life. And what do I mean by that? It can change everything now. Can change everything now. Because I'm so passionate about prosperity, I can tell you right now, if money is an issue in your life, you've rejected it in some capacity from a mental standpoint. And you know how? You reject money by focusing more on your debt. Okay? You reject money by old, outdated beliefs. You reject money by being confused, of secretly saying, "Oh, I want it. I really want it. I really want lots of it." And then, "Oh, money is evil. Those rich people are terrible." And you have conflicted views. So guess what? Guess what it does in real life? Your money literally don't know where to go, right? Because you've rejected it. You're having relationship issues. So I can see and watch this all the time on social media. Someone who wants a relationship but gets on social media and rejects the idea of relationships. You've already rejected in your consciousness. How in the world are you going to have it? Because you can only have what's in here first, what's in your consciousness. So you change that up with a little bit of forgiveness and acceptance, and bada bing, bada boom, pow. It opens itself up to you. Right? That goes for success. That goes for money. That goes for wisdom. That goes for knowledge. That goes for understanding. You want to know when the divine can give you the greatest guidance of your life? Jesus tells us, if you want something, believe it first. Because he knows what? He knew what? You have to have it within first. So if God's going to answer my prayer, I have to come to him or come to the Father within myself, knowing that he's going to answer my prayer. And guess what? I can have my prayer answered, right? This is why prayers that just shout out to some external deity never work, because you're just hoping that somebody hears you, when in actuality, all you need is in here, right? But you got to know within the prayer is going to be answered. Let's say, once again, getting back to money, you want to make a certain amount of income. Have it in the consciousness first. Start asking yourself, what does it feel like to make $5 million a year? Right? What types of things would I do if I made $20 million a year? And you get on the inside, right? And you inject that feeling into it. All of a sudden, it's in your consciousness. If it's in your consciousness, it can be in your life. It's a simple, not always easy. The hardest thing, though, is getting over the idea that you are a victim to what's happening, right? And so here's what I want to do. With all the stuff that's going on, all the things in the world that are just absolutely maddening to a degree, refuse to let your consciousness be dragged into feeling anger that consumes you, hatred that consumes you, fear that consumes you, or anything that's less than the vibration of your natural state of being, which is peace. Refuse to let that outside entity plant a seed within you that all of a sudden has you getting pulled over by the police or has you getting beat up in a way. Why? Because guess what? If that seed is planted within you and it grows and it grows and it grows, the number one thing I hate to see is when people start to see that they fear for their lives. I hate it. I hate it. And the reason I hate it is because it starts to grow that seed within them. It grows that seed within them. And guess what? Before long, if it's in your consciousness long enough and there's feeling around it, it's got to picture out into your life. And then you become the victim. You become the victim that has to go through that. But guess what? That can't happen if it doesn't resonate in you, in your consciousness first. It's got to start in here. It never just starts randomly out there. It always starts in there. And if you know that, you understand that, it can free you from ever having to deal with it. And I put everything I got on that now. You just have to be willing to accept it. You just have to be willing to rise above this level where all the chaos is, and rise to that level to where you know, wait a minute, I'm in control, right? This doesn't have to be me. If I don't get caught up in fear, if I don't get caught up in hatred, this doesn't have to be me. Let me rise up to love and understand that I am in the driver's seat. Consciousness can change everything right now. Transform it almost instantly. Does that within you first, and then it outpictures into the world, into the manifest world. That's it. That's it. Nothing can enter your life until it enters your consciousness first. So look at every single thing that's going on in your world. What doesn't make sense to you? What doesn't match up to your idea of what you want to have, of what you want to be, of what you want to experience? What doesn't match up? Go within. Where in my consciousness is this lying that it's causing a manifestation of it in my life this way? Wait for the guidance. The guidance comes along. Take heed to it. Release, uplift, whatever it is you got to do. Move it out of the way. Move it out of your consciousness. And just like that, it's out of your life. It's a simple concept. But sometimes you got to get past your conditioning to accept it and to be able to use it. It's all to it, right? Agree, disagree, cover your ears. It's up to you to decide. But I promise you, you implement this, it will work. It always has. It's been working your entire life. It's been working your entire life. That wraps up today's message, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So if you have any comments, any prayers, any feedback, whatever it may be, send me a message at ShaunG04@gmail.com. Happy to correspond with you. And much like at the beginning, If you have found this content to be beneficial, which I find it beneficial because I'm teaching it, feel free to sow a seed. Let that essence of love and gratitude flow into the ministry as a seed sowed in the form of Venmo at Heart of Christ Ministry, PayPal, ShaunG04@gmail.com, and Apple Pay upon requests. Let that consciousness, let that seed of consciousness well up within you and manifest into life. But yes, thank you in advance for your kindness and generosity. And remember, guys, nothing can enter your life until it enters your consciousness first. Know that, believe that, study that, focus on that. And I promise you, with every fiber of my being, when you learn that concept, you'll realize that you've always had the power and you will continue to have the power. And no one or no thing can take it away from you. With that being said, this has been a blast. All right. Have a wonderful day. We will talk soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Every dream begins with a vision that sees everything before anyone else ever can. A vision that ignites the endless power to make all your dreams come true.